everybody. Welcome back to Mondays with Mateo and Annette, actually, and the Creative Autism Solutions team channel. So today we have a very special guest with us, Lene Crandall. I'm going to put you in the right view here. There we go. Lene Crandall, Rapid Prompting Method teacher extraordinaire. And thanks for being with us today, Lene.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Do you want to say anything? H.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
So,
Find it?
okay, bye-bye.
L.
Bye-bye. Lene.
Lene. Find it?
S.
Find it?
A.
And?
M.
And?
Amazing.
Lene is amazing. There you have it. Testimonial. We have been working with Lene for about 3.5 years as we were introduced to the Rapid Prompting Method created by a mother of a autistic young man named Soma Makapati, and she lives in Austin, Texas. So Lene has trained with Soma for years and has her own company now called Heed, and I'll let her explain a little bit about that in a minute. But first of all, Lene, what is RPM and why in the heck would I want to do it?
Great question. So RPM stands for Rapid Prompting Method. And basically it's a method in which we use to educate a person about really anything. And it leads to communication, which is a big thing. So we look at how the student is behaving and then see what their open learning channels are based off their outward, like self-stimulatory behavior, and then figure out how to teach them and then get them communicating those responses, which then transfers to being able to communicate in regular life about most things in that education. And then later on to how to control their bodies to navigate the world in general, doing hobbies or self-help skills with that.
Awesome. Yeah, I know when we first started, don't do that. Sorry, tail's wiggling the table. When we first started doing RPM at home, before I even got to hook up with you, I found it astonishing after reading Soma's book, which we'll link to below. Please do you guys order that because it's pretty fantastic. It's Understanding Autism Through the Rapid Prompting Method. And it talks a little bit, well, a lot about these learning channels. So Lene, I don't know that everyone knows what a learning channel is, but can you just go over that real quick?
You bet. So you have 4 learning channels, all of us do, our auditory, visual, kinesthetic, and our tactile channels. So our primary learning channels are our vision and hearing, and then our secondary ones are our tactile, we touch, and kinesthetic, our movement or movements there. So when we talk about open learning channels, we're looking at which ones are engaged. So are going to learn best through their vision, through their hearing, and then through their movement or through touch. And some kids are going to do, at different moments, will be more visual or more auditory, maybe more tactile, more kinesthetic. And so we're looking at the teaching in a way that goes through the open learning channel in that instant of learning. So it could change throughout the session.
So it changes, like how much does that change, do you think?
Well, at first, it can be more significant than other times. It can be rapid as if I'm writing a keyword down as I talk to a student, they look down, they're visual. And they're looking up the rest of the time. Now they're more auditory, most likely. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes those ones aren't even engaged at first. With time, though, those learning channels start to integrate, and you don't have to worry about it so much. They just spell and respond and are able to integrate better.
Okay, so learning how to recognize the open learning channel is important. Why?
Well, it helps you kind of see how to teach them. So many times people have this overarching belief that all people with autism are visual learners. But yet if you're drawing and writing and the student's looking at like this, they're not a visual learner. So then they're going to be missing all that visual information. So it'd be crucial then to recognize, hey, I got to get them auditorily or tactily or kinesthetically, sometimes to actually engage the vision by those other learning channels, or just so they get it in a different way.
Okay.
So for example, I could teach them something, and then I could, if I wanted to teach them how to count, instead of showing them little like little objects, I could actually tap their hand. See, 1, 2, 3, and then they actually feel it or hear it, have a pencil. And then they would learn that through the auditory channel. Then they might look down and say, oh, you're touching me. Now their visual is engaged. Then I can actually engage tactile, visual, auditory, kinesthetic in one.
So that's kind of important when we're trying to educate our kids, huh?
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
if you think about a neurotypical classroom and how often the kids sit in a desk and have to watch a lecture that's happening at the chalkboard or whiteboard, right? So
Yeah.
that's your visual learning channel, but then the teacher's also talking, so you got your auditory, but then Johnny can get in trouble if he's not looking at the board,
Yeah.
right? The teacher said, pay attention, look at the board.
Absolutely.
Because you taught in the public schools for a while, right?
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Just don't look up there. That's hard. It's like being able to actually get your eyes to look where they need to go is a motor skill and requires a lot of self-control. So we think about sometimes that, oh, if you're sitting quietly and your eyes are on the teacher, you're attending, but that's actually just a social skill, it's motor control. Whereas you could actually be attending and listening a lot better if you're standing and swaying or maybe tapping something. Some students cannot. Like controlling their body is so much effort, they won't listen to you anymore while they sit there and control it. So by being able to just kind of stem a little, they might actually listen to you and be actually attending, even though they don't socially look like they're doing so.
So, and I think that leads to this whole misunderstanding about autistic people and how they learn and when they learn, and an assumption that they're not paying attention if they're not looking and listening at the same time. And I think that was a huge discovery for me when working with Mateo, because it changed everything. I didn't feel disrespected if he's not looking at me or paying attention, right?
Yes.
So we can often feel like, hey, you're supposed to pay attention to me. I'm teaching you and I'm taking my time to do this. So it changes our perspective a little bit, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have to look at things differently and appreciate a different way of viewing the world, and that, we don't have to put our judgments on ourselves. So like on the student. So if I was sitting there singing a song, I would assume that I wasn't listening, but maybe a student needs to do that to listen, so we can be more understanding while we teach.
So when I sing a song and Mateo goes like this, do you think that's a good thing?
Well, I'll let Mateo be his own voice.
Yeah, what's up with that? I-C-A-N, can't, find it, A-L-W-A-Y, always, L-O-O, look, A-N, and, L-I-S-T-E, listen, keep going, finish your thought. Louder.
At the same
At the same
time.
I can't always look and listen at the same time. And he's made that perfectly clear.
Yeah, that's a very valid point, because I think many students actually experience that very phenomenon. And so when we force the whole look at me while I talk, so you can, then they lose out on learning. And so.
And do you think that could be causing some frustration in our kids?
I think a lot of anxiety and frustration can be caused by our lack of understanding of an alternate, our lack of perspective taking and on our end.
Yeah. I mean, that was huge for me. It changed everything. And I can just go like this and relax instead of have my own inner anxiety about whether he's understanding it and I'm getting it into him or not.
Right.
That's really important for learning, that we are relaxed as we're teaching so that they can be relaxed as they're receiving the information in whatever.
Absolutely.
Right. So, okay, so you have your own website and your own company per se. So tell us about that and what you do.
Yes, well, basically, I try to teach students and help the parent do so. So a lot of times I've been traveling to do workshops. Obviously, with the current situation, I'm now doing a lot of virtual sessions and where I can in Utah live, but or like in person. But so yes, I do a lot of that. My goal for me is really just helping parents and students to get a good education, and then also the ability to communicate and control their bodies enough so that they can learn skills to function as independently as possible in this world, and parents to be able to help in that goal as well, or those goals as well. So that's what I do is I travel, I write books, lesson plans for helping with that as well. And then I teach people in Utah as well, where I'm located, and
Okay.
help do that.
Yeah. So we'll link your website below. And what's the name of your website?
It's heedrpm.com.
So Heed, HEED, RPM.com.
Correct.
And you do have tons of information on here, which we'll get to in a second as well. But I was going to ask if you could share. So what if someone wanted to get off this computer and say, I want to try this rapid prompting method and see if it's for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I've introduced it to people, I ask them to get rid of the word try and do it.
That's
You know,
right.
Don't try it, because then you can go, that didn't work, and give up really easily. So from the minute one, when I started with you, I said, Teo, we're going to do this. And there's a mindset that goes along for your child and you.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it.
Yeah, I definitely think
want
that's
to do it.
Yeah, it's a very important point, because when you do RPM, you're changing your whole belief and your whole base habits. So to be able to go and do it, you actually have to change those beliefs and habits before you're going to be successful. So for sure, trying is great. If you don't feel successful, that should be, understandable, because you're trying to learn how to believe that, oh, my child is a competent person. I should believe in them as an intelligent person, even though professionals will tell me otherwise. And my child acts a certain way, it looks much younger than their chronological age. So being able to believe that they're understanding you, even though they're not acting like it, and that can take a while and maybe a little faith at first to believe that. And then with time, like for me, it's just something I accept readily. There's not a kid that comes into my office or wherever I go that comes into my presence that I'm thinking is unintelligent. I believe all of them understand me, and I have found myself to be correct about that as I've worked with them. So yeah, so I think it's something that you do what you can, study about it so that you can understand why you're going to believe such a thing. If it's something hard for you to believe, if inside your gut was saying my child's intelligent already, that might be helpful to start with that. But you're going to be learning a lot of nuances to also and change a different style of teaching and thought process about how you teach. So yeah, something that you give some honest time to really study, research, and dig into and do. Yeah.
I do. And it's so exciting. And I think, I thank you for bringing up that point, because assuming your child's intelligence and competence, that it's just trapped in there, and their struggle is being able to share with us in a way we understand, which is actually quite limited when you think about it. If you're not using your words and talking to me, then I don't get what you're saying, except if you know how to point or yell or grab the thing that you want, right? We're very limited kind of in our scope of understanding, and we don't search enough, I don't think, as a parent, because I didn't until I really dove into it and was aware of other ways of communicating and what to look for. So, yes. Yeah. So step one, get the book and read it. Step two, decide that you're going to believe in your child's intelligence and competence. Why don't you decide you're going to believe it for 3 months and see what happens, right?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Start talking to your child like they're understanding you. Start reading to them age appropriate as in chronological age appropriate text. Get them used to it. It can be like 2 minutes at a time, because at first they might slam the book shut or get upset. They just need to be in the room. That's fine, and just read to them. They can be doing whatever, but just read to them, talk to them like they're listening and understanding.
Okay. I know we had to put down the Llama Llama Red Pajama book when Teo was 12, because I thought he loved that thing. That's all he wanted to read. That's what we would read. but now, Hardy Boys are much more exciting.
Yes.
They sure get in a lot of trouble, but that's another story. So, all right. So after we've read the book and our mindset is we've chosen to believe in our child's intelligence and competence, then what do?
So we start practicing and implementing it. That's what I would do. So here's some things. So you can, in the process, start talking to your child like they understand. I'm going to read some books so I can show you a setup of the session. And then read to them. And then you can start doing this kind of stuff, which can be very just basic. So what you're going to do to start out with is you want to make sure you got some accuracy with choices. This is typically how it begins, but there are some students that have to have a different way of going about it, but we're just going to talk about the general idea, even though some are going to be unique in how this is done. So you are going to sit on your student's right side. So this is my imaginary student here. Then you're going to have, and all you need is basically paper and pencil. I will use a marker so that you can see what I'm doing here. And then this is how you will start. So you might just start out with like a fact that you want to teach to check basically the facts. So that might look like you saying to the student, you're going to have one, I'm going to tilt this down so you can see, sheet of paper that you're going to write key words on. You'll have another that you are going to give choices to. I'm going to show you 2 ways that you might deliver choices with paper. And again, there are some kids that it needs to be done a different way to really help them, but this is a general way that we typically start. So, and on my website, I have some videos of this. So you might say something like the EARTH. So I said it and wrote it down as I wrote. The earth is round. So now I'm doing visual kinesthetic stuff here. So I'm going to say the earth is round. What did I say? So then you're just checking to help with the listening, because it doesn't matter if they understood. You're just looking at listening. So as I said, the earth is round. They can hear those sounds and then they can hear it. So then I'm going to either go with the paper like this. I'm just folding the paper up so I can give 2 options. And I'm going to write left to right. So what did I say? The earth is round. What did I say? Did I say the earth was? And you can do like GIRAFFE, giraffe. Or did I say the earth was ROUND, round? And then I'll pick it up. And I'm going to place it about center to the student's choosing hand. So if this was their hand, they'd fall right down on that line there that I have here. Then I give them the pencil. So I place it down, give them the pencil, and then they point. At first, I might have to show them how to point. So I might have to take their hand and say, this is how you point to the second choice without the first choice there. And then, so that's one way I could do it. Or I might do ripped choices, which you might commonly see in lots of videos and in the books where you're stimulating the auditory channel. So I say the earth is round, and I'd say we live on the earth. So who lives on the earth? I didn't show you that very well. And then I place this again center to their choosing hand. Did I say WE, we live on the earth? Or did I say MARS, Mars lives on the earth? And then they pick. Now, if they're not looking, I can go like this, we or Mars, so they hear. Some will want to copy that movement. So then you will have to be careful with that. So some they'll take their hand and help them fill the different choices and then pull their hands to the center again. And then they can pick out the choice there. So there are 2 different ways that you might try out. If your child's echoing both choices, that sometimes happens, or picking the most familiar one, or only the second one, or only the first one. There are ways to troubleshoot through that. So don't get discouraged. That does happen. Your child's not the one unique child that does that. That happens. So you can read and troubleshoot. And there's some things in the book that teach about that. But on the table, if it doesn't work, then go up into the air. That is how you would do that. And then once they can show the facts, the listening really well, then you can start reasoning questions, and then you can start saying, what do you want for dinner? If you can do that.
Okay, so this isn't something like going right to asking your child, hey, what do you want for dinner? And then just expecting that they're going to write the answer down or do anything like that. There's a process to this. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that I always get asked about when we're doing, Mateo and I are doing presentations, is why don't you just go on the computer? Why don't you, why are you going through the trouble of, choices, then you move on to a letter board, and But why aren't you on a computer? What the heck is that about? Right?
Yes. It's a really good question. And I'd be on a computer with my student immediately too, if that was what was going to work. I would look at it, the analogy comparison would be, even though a young child has the capacity to speak and do paragraphs, at first though you have to do step by step to work the motor skills of their mouth until they can speak in one word sentences and so forth like that. So think in terms of that as far as don't compare it too much, but enough that you get the idea.
Yeah.
You can't just say, oh, you're babbling now, tell me a paragraph. You have to let them go through the steps. So this is a similar thing. So it's not a cognitive thing that you're dealing with in this case. You're dealing with that there's an imbalance between the motor, the cognitive, and the emotions there. So they can think in their head, I want to walk over there and pick up the ball and throw it. That's a thought. They cognitively understand that. But then to motor plan, getting up out of the chair, walking over there, aiming at the ball, picking it up, and then chucking it, that's a lot of steps the body's going through. And with the underconnectivity of some of the brain areas, sometimes that gets lost. And it's not an impulsive, pleasurable task, such as getting a cookie or finding chocolate or finding their favorite YouTube video or typing in their favorite list of Dr. Seuss books. You won't see that, even though clearly some intelligence is there, because it's not a purposeful pathway. Those instinctual pathways are totally different. So when we start with the choosing, we're looking at learning how to choose purposefully, not just impulsively. We're learning how to spell. So basically you have to put the board and the paper and those things in a position that are easiest for them to navigate, a preferred spot. So for you and me, some of us enjoy holding our phones like this and texting like this. Some of us maybe put on a table and like to type down there. Some want to use one hand and just do typing it in like this. We all have a preferred, basically our performance field.
Bye.
But for you and me, where we have generalized senses, meaning that we can basically control it more, we can look where we want to look, hear what we want to hear, then it's not a big deal if someone forces us to type on the table versus in our hand with two thumbs or one hand. For them, it's a huge deal. So when you're trying to transfer any motor skill with intention to a purposeful area, you need to put it where it's most comfortable for that student. And so our choices and our boards and everything like that are in that performance field where they have the accuracy. So if I hold up a board, I'm going to check and see if they can touch the A, the U, the E, the Z, those corner letters really easily. And then I know I have it in the right spot for the student there.
Okay.
And
So-
this is true for art too. So when I hold up the board for art, I get actual drawings. When I don't hold the right spot, I get scribbles or nothing. So this is not like a communication. This is for any skill that it's a true of.
Wow. Excuse the sound.
Okay.
Teo has the hiccups today. And that's really interesting stuff there. And I think we could go on for 5 hours and have Lene sit here. It's really, really valuable information. And I think maybe
Okay, bye-bye.
we'll ask you to come back again some other time and maybe get into some of this a little bit more. But what I would like to say right now is, if any of you, how many parents do I meet? I just wish he could tell me. I just wish my child could tell me what's going on. It's our dream as parents. Mm-hmm. So if you have not tried the rapid prompting method, this could be the next thing for you, because if you're anything like me, you're not gonna stop searching until you find what's gonna help. And thank God one of my friends told me about this. Thank you, Emma. Told me about this, because we often find out from parents the most amazing types of things that can help our kids, right? And we've happened to come upon so many beautiful practitioners like you, Lene, who teach us how to help our kids. And if you're seeing a theme throughout these videos, that's what it's about. Because there is no better time to realize the importance of us as parents learning how to do this stuff than as opposed to relying on somebody else, right? So, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm. It's way fun. It's good stuff.
Bye-bye.
So, yeah. And then they learn phrases like, okay, bye-bye, and just, want to get off. So, no. But anyway, Lene, thank you so much. We'll link to your website. This may be freaking some of your parents out. I got to write lesson plans. I don't know how to do this.
There's lots of people who've done that. So you'll have lesson plans now available. There's lots of different providers who have. So that's a good thing.
Yes, it's a great thing. And we use your books. We love them. And yeah, Mateo, do you want a lesson from me or one from Lene? Lene. Okay, whatever. So, they're fun lessons, and they're quite detailed. So if you're a beginner learning RPM, or if you've been doing it for a while like I have, they're very helpful no matter what. So thanks for putting those out.
You're welcome.
And then if someone wants to get help from you, are you accepting new students, or how is this working?
Absolutely. So just send me an email. That's the best way to, if you send me an email, because then I can make sure I do respond. If the email, I won't open it up till I'm ready to look at it and respond. So go ahead and send me an email, and I can either see if there's a place that I'm going to be traveling to that I can come to, or you can come to me in Utah, or we can do something online. So to get you started. So everyone's welcome. And if, yeah.
Great. So we'll put all that information below, you guys. Thank you so much, Lene, for all you do for all of us. I don't think this woman ever sleeps, by the way. I know you work 6 days a week at least, if not more. So we really, you're our angel, and we appreciate everything you're doing.
Well, thank you. Same back to you guys.
All right. Rock on.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.